Picture this. A sailor is kneeling beside a carved stone, one shaped just like a cradle. The waves are crashing on the shore. He reaches out, touches the stone, whispers a quick prayer, and then he sails off, right into the unknown.
So what does that even mean?
Well, that stone, whether it was real or just a legend, it holds the secret to a name, Beşiktaş, the cradle stone. And believe me, that's just one of many secrets. Because in Istanbul, pretty much every street sign you see is like a doorway to the past. So let's go. Let's dive into this city's incredible living map and uncover the secrets behind its neighborhood names.
All right, our journey kicks off where most do, right on the historic European shore of the Bosphorus. This is a place where you can literally feel the weight of empires in every single stone and in every single name.
Okay, so let's get back to our sailor. The name Beşiktaş could mean cradle stone, which comes from this incredible legend that a church here once had a sacred relic, a stone from Jesus' actual cradle, which was then stolen by crusaders. But wait, there's a second story, one that smells of sea salt and gunpowder. It says the name really comes from Beşiktaş, which means 5 stones, and these were the pillars used by the legendary Ottoman Admiral Barbarossa to moor his fleet. You see? These two stories show you how Istanbul holds multiple histories all at once. Is it a story of faith or one of epic naval power? The name holds both, and the real origin? Well, it's kind of lost in the mists of the Bosphorus.
All right, moving on from ancient legends, we're landing in the buzzing modern heart of Istanbul, Beyoğlu. You know, before the Ottomans, this place was called Pera, which is just Greek for the other side. So how in the world did it become Beyoğlu, or son of the Bey? Well, one popular story points to the son of a Venetian ambassador, Andrea Gritti. The Turks apparently called him Beyoğlu. But another version claims it was a Pontic prince who converted to Islam and lived right here. A diplomat's son or a convert prince. Honestly, either way, the name perfectly captures the area's legacy as this amazing, cosmopolitan bridge between different worlds.
Okay, so now we're going to journey away from the Bosphorus and head right into the Golden Horn. This is that ancient estuary that protects the historical peninsula, the absolute core of old Constantinople. And here, the names aren't just legends, they are straight-up historical records of some of the city's most defining moments. Some names are just so simple, so direct, and yet incredibly powerful. Case in point, Fatih. It means the conqueror.
Yep, this district is named directly for Sultan Mehmet II, Fatih Sultan Mehmet, the man who conquered Constantinople back in 1453. After the conquest, he turned this area into the heart of his brand new empire and urged his subjects to move in and rebuild. The name Fatih isn't just a location on a map, it's a declaration. It's the mark of a whole new beginning.
And just nearby, we find another name that was literally forged in the heat of that exact same battle, Topkapi. It translates to the Cannon Gate.
So this name really captures a huge technological turning point. Before 1453, this was known as the Gate of St. Romanos. But during that epic siege, Sultan Mehmed positioned his massive, totally game-changing cannons right here. These giant guns, or top in Turkish, just hammered the ancient walls. And they stayed there long after the city fell, which is how the gate got its new name for good. And get this, legend has it that this is the very spot where the conqueror first rode his horse into his new capital.
But you know, not all the names in this area are about war and conquest. Some are about something just as important, daily bread. So let me introduce you to Unkapanı, the flourware or the flour scale.
This name tells such a cool story about the Ottoman economy. So, ships loaded with flour, or un, would dock right here. And to make sure trade was fair and to stop people from jacking up the prices, all the goods were weighed on these enormous public scales, called a kapan. It was a whole state-controlled system designed to protect the people. And this simple, everyday act of business was so vital to life that the entire district just became known as the place of the flour scale.
Okay, let's cross the Bosphorus. We're heading to the Asian continent now. For centuries, this was seen as the other side, a land of quiet suburbs, beautiful gardens, and, well, armies on the move. And as you can imagine, its names tell a totally different set of stories.
First up, Üsküdar. Back in its Byzantine glory days, it was this thriving port called Chrysopolis, which means the Golden City. But, you know, fortunes change, and it took on a completely new role. It became a base for the empire's cavalrymen, and its name shifted to Scutarian, the place of the cavalry. Over hundreds of years, the Turkish pronunciation just sort of softened Scutarian into the Üsküdar we know today. It's a name that echoes both gold and steel. Just south of Üsküdar, you'll find Kadıköy, and this story is one of my absolute favorites. Its original name was Chalcedon. Now, according to legend, its Greek founders were called the Blind because they settled here and somehow completely missed the magnificent, strategically perfect peninsula just across the water. Go figure. Then, after the conquest, Mehmed the Conqueror gifted this land to Hızır Bey, who was Istanbul's very first judge, or Kadi, and so it became Kadıköy, the village of the judge. I mean, from an ancient insult to an Ottoman honor, what a total transformation, right?
All right, now for something a little mystical. Back in the Ottoman era, Caddebostan was this wild, overgrown place, basically the perfect spot for deserters and criminals to hide out. The police used to mockingly call it Caddebostani, the witch's garden, because it had this spooky, lawless reputation. But the famous traveler Evliya Çelebi, he had a more literal explanation. He actually wrote that women who practice witchcraft really did live there. So, whichever story you happen to believe, the name still whispers of a wilder, way more mysterious past.
So as our journey across the city comes to a close, it reveals a really powerful truth. In Istanbul, the map isn't just a guide to where you are now, it's a dictionary of the past. It's a city that literally speaks its own history. You just have to know how to listen.
What becomes so clear is that every one of these names is like a footprint left behind by a different culture. You can hear the echoes of Greek in Chalcedon, Italian dialects in Beolo, Persian words in places like Beykoz, and of course, that foundational layer of Ottoman Turkish in Fatih and Kadıköy. The city's identity really is this incredible mosaic, built from the languages of all the different peoples who've called it home.
So the next time you're in Istanbul and you pass a street sign, don't just see a name. Stop for a second, pause, because you might just be standing right inside a story of a conqueror's cannon, a judge's village, or a sailor's quiet prayer. A story that began centuries ago and is still being told today.